Hi everyone, this is Karen. How are you? Welcome to day two of our book club. So, for those of you who are new here, we are reading Money Isn't the Problem You Are, and we're reading one chapter a day, and we're now on day two. But before we begin, I'd like to ask the people who joined us for day one, how are you? Are there any tools that you've practiced yesterday, and how is it going for you? Because for me, after we did the day one of Money Is Not the Problem You Are, I've been receiving money like cash and affirmation and gifts. And it's so beautiful. And I'm really, really overwhelmed with gratitude that, yay, this is working. And I remembered, but also, well, I've been receiving more money. I've also been receiving responsibilities and judgments, but I'm taking everything in because I remember when I had a money call with Junaline, one of the questions she asked was, what is it that you're avoiding and defending regarding money? And she said, don't think about it. Just ask yourself that question. Ask truth. What are you avoiding and defending with regards to money? And um my answer for that was like initially was thinking nothing. There's nothing I'm avoiding and defending as with regards to money. But when I asked truth, the insight was I was actually avoiding responsibilities. That's why I'm not willing to take in money. And what will it take for us to receive everything that comes with money? Receive the judgments, receive the responsibilities, and receive the burden even with having money. Okay, so also again, I'm asking you, please share your wins because it will inspire the other people in the group and what tools have been working for you. The thing is with group dynamics, what happens is, and this is based on study, um, people actually help each other. Like energetic, because in a group, right, there are experts, there are people who are like midway, like they understand the concept, but not like an expert yet. And there are people struggling with the concepts. So the people who are like midway are actually lifting up the ones who are struggling with concepts, and the ones who are experts are lifting up the ones who are like midway in their journey. And this can happen energetically. Like energetically, you can lift each other up. And the ones who are struggling, what happens is they provide good wishes and affirmations to the ones who are helping them learn the concepts better. So, and these affirmations and good wishes are actually blessings for the experts or the one in the mid in the journey. So it's really interesting what will happen after the 7 days of change, or even right now that we're going through the journey together, because we can, I feel and I sense that we can create a different money reality together. Okay, so at any point, please feel free to share what's happening for you, if the tools are working for you, because it's definitely working for me. So let's begin. We are on chapter two, and we're reading from the book Money Isn't the Problem You Are. And this book is by Dane Here and Gary Douglas. That's the book. And when I read the book, because the book was written in first person. So when I say I'm referring to Gary Douglas. And when I say we, that I'm referring to Gary and Dane. So again, it's money isn't the problem you are. What if it's all about how much you're willing to receive? So let's begin chapter 2. Okay, chapter 2 of Money Isn't the Problem You Are. Some cool tools from perspiration to inspiration. In Access, we don't look for the cutting edge of things. We look for the creative edge. Because if you're constantly creating your life, then you're expanding it. In this section, we offer some questions, techniques, and tools that will give you the opportunity to go from perspiration to inspiration and creating the life you would like to have. But here's the deal, if you want your life to change, you have to use them. These are the most simple, dynamic tools you can imagine. But 90% of the people we share them with never use them. You too may refuse. So if you're addicted to unconsciousness around money, You won't do what it takes to change your life. You'll read through this book and say, I spent all that money on that book and nothing changed. It was worthless. Well, it is worthless if you don't use it. But if you're determined to make some changes in your life and create a different reality around money and everything else, we invite you to try these tools. Next, live in the question. The universe is an infinite place and it has infinite answers. When you ask an unlimited question, the universe will give you the answer. But what we usually do is ask a limited question like, how do I get from point A to point B? And when we do that, the mind goes to work, trying to figure it out. Do this and this and this and this. When you try to work out the way you're going to make something happen, you're figuring out the answer rather than asking a question. Don't try to figure it out. You'll limit yourself. Your mind is a dangerous thing. It can only define what you already know. It cannot be infinite and unlimited. Whenever you have an answer, that's the sum total of what can show up for you. But when you live in the question, infinite possibilities are available. Try some of these questions and see what happens. Next page. What would it take for blank to show up? When you live in the question, you create an invitation. When you ask, what would it take for blank to show up? The universe will give you opportunities for that to happen. You can get stuck in your life and think it's either this or this. I can do this, I can't do this, I can't be this. The only way I can have this is if Joe lends me $5,000, for example. I could never afford a blank. I just don't have the money to blank. These are limited points of view. Adopt an unlimited point of view with a question, what would it take for blank to show up? Recently, I went to take some money out of my savings account because I didn't seem to have enough money. I was saying, damn it, why don't I have enough money? I don't understand this. What's going to take for more money to show up? It's ridiculous that I don't have enough money. What's it going to take? The next day, I got my briefcase, which I hadn't used for about 3 months, out of the closet, and there was $1,600 in cash that I had stored there for some reason. And 2 days after that, Dane and I flew to Florida, and when we got there, our friend Jill handed Dane an envelope and said, this was with a credit card machine. Dane asked, what's this? And she said, checks that were never cashed from a class you and Gary did. There was 2,000 worth of checks in it. The same day, I got a call from a lady whose credit card hadn't been charged for $1,800 worth of services. And a day later, I found a check for $500 in a drawer where I'd left it. That was the $6,000 I'd taken out of my savings account. I said, hmm, I guess I wasn't short of money. I just wasn't looking. The funny thing is, it's still happening. I had a lady call to me today and said, you know, the class that I took a couple of months ago that didn't charge my account for it, I'm mailing you a check. I said, okay, cool. How does it get any better than this? You have to ask a question for the universe to give you an answer. You have to ask, it's not good to say, I want more money. That only means I lack of some money. And there's no question in it. Always use a question. What would it take for blank to show up? Next, what's right about this that I'm not getting? Another great question is, what's right about this that I'm not getting? Are there areas in your life where you think you only have the choice of either or? Do you think you have to choose one side of the coin or the other? Rather than having the infinite capacity to do anything, are you seeing yourself as a tiny speck in the universe and asking, what's wrong with me? What does that do to you? It puts you in the finite. You don't become the unlimited being you really are, and you eliminate possibilities for change. Instead of asking, what's wrong with me? Ask, what's right about this I'm not getting? When Dane and I started to work together, he lived with my ex wife and me. After a while, he found a place to live on his own, and I was helping him move. And as we were delivering the last load of his stuff, the owner of the place appeared and went ballistic. She said things like, "You can't move in here, you get out. I didn't agree to this. You can't have this place." And Dane withered and asked, "What's wrong with me that I can't make this work?" I said, "Wrong question, dude. What's right about this you're not getting?" Well, it turned out that the owner of the place who lived on the property talked nonstop and was completely nuts. Instead of living there, he got a far nicer two-bedroom apartment overlooking a park in a really nice area of town. And he didn't have to rent an office and was able to work out of his home. Everything turned out way better than what he had set up because when it fell apart, he was willing to ask, what's right about this I'm not getting? You, as a being, would not do anything wrong. You just wouldn't. But there might be something right about the situation you're not getting. How do you discover what that is? Ask, what's right about this I'm not getting? Whatever it is, the question asks for the awareness and the unlimited capacity to perceive and look. Use this question to unlock possibilities for change in your life. Next, how does it get any better than this? Here is a question to use on a daily basis. When you use it in a bad situation, you get clarity on how to change things. And when you use it in a good situation, all kinds of interesting things show up. In New York, a lady walked out on an access class and found a dime in front of the elevator. She said, "Oh, how does it get any better than this?" and stuck it in her pocket. She walked downstairs and out onto the street, saw a $10 bill on the ground, stuck it in her pocket, and asked, "How does it get any better than this?" She was on her way to the subway but waved down a cab instead and rode to the front of her building. As she stepped out, she saw something glittering in the gutter. She reached down and picked up a diamond bracelet. At this point, she said, "It can't get any better than this," which was a big mistake. When you see that, that's all there is. Otherwise, who knows? She might have owned the Empire State Building by now. I'm not guaranteeing that you're going to turn a dime into diamonds, but you can never tell what is going to happen. Just keep asking, how does it get any better than this? Next, perceive, know, be, and receive. Do you want to know what's going to make your job better or how to improve your money situation or your business or your relationship? In any area of your life that is not working for you, there's something that you're not perceiving, not knowing, not being, or not perceiving. How can you say this? It's because we know that you are an infinite being. And as an infinite being, you have the infinite capacity to perceive, know, be, and receive. And this means that in order to create your life as the limitation it has become, there have to be things that you're unwilling to perceive, know, be, and receive. Say the following 30 times a day for 30 days. Next slide, please. Perceive, know, next slide. Be and receive what I refuse, dare not, must never, and must also perceive, know, be, and receive that will allow me total clarity and ease with, or you can use a simplified version. What must I perceive, know, be, and receive that would allow me to blank. You can put anything in the blank. And this question starts to unlock where you're not showing up. If you will do this 30 times a day for 3 days, somewhere at the end of the third day or into the fourth day, you'll start to have an inspired way of looking at things. Suddenly, you'll ask, why didn't I think of that before? You couldn't think of it before because you refused, or you dared not, or you thought that you must never perceive or receive something, or you thought you had to perceive or receive something in order to get there. This simple question will help you unlock your limitations. Next slide. Next. Perceive, know, be, and receive what I refuse, dare not, must never, and must also perceive, know, be, and receive. That will allow me total clarity and ease with blank. 30 times a day will begin to change whatever area of your life is not working the way you would like it to work. Next, you've got 10 seconds to live the rest of your life. Well, you've got 10 seconds to live the rest of your life. The world is filled with lions, tigers, bears, and poisonous snakes. They're going to eat you. You've got 10 seconds. What are you going to choose? If you do everything in your life in 10-second increments, you will find you cannot make a wrong decision. If you do anger for 10 seconds and get over it, you'll make no wrong choices. If you love for 10 seconds, you can love anyone and everyone for that amount of time, no matter who they are. You can hate someone for 10 seconds. You can divorce your spouse for 10 seconds, and you can love him or her in the next 10. If you live in 10-second increments, you will create being in the present moment. Most people, rather than living in the moment, keep trying to create a plan and a system for the future so it will show up the way they want it. But there's only one place you can live, and that's right here, right now. Anything else kills you. You don't get to have a life. You miss out on your life. People have asked, how can you do business in 10-second increments? In 10 seconds, you can decide whether you wish to talk to that person or not. You can know whether he or she is available. You can know 10-second increments force you to stop thinking and go into knowing. In 10 seconds, you can start to break down the conditioning that has you figuring things out and planning in advance. You can learn how to choose and how to be present. You can't judge in 10 seconds because it's here and it's gone. We prolong our agony in life by judging ourselves and trying to fix what we have judged. But what if you could have just said, oh, well, I did that for 10 seconds. Now, what would I like to choose? Next. Next. Yeah, okay, that's correct. When you do something that you think is bad, how long do you punish yourself for it? How long do you obsess about it? Days, weeks, months, years? If you're living in 10-second increments, you can't do that. Of course, you can't remember anything either, but that's the good news. If you practice the art of choosing your life in 10-second increments, you will begin to create choice and the opportunity to receive money. Most of us create based on obligation. We say, well, I've got to do this, and I've got to do this, and I've got to do this. But are those things the things we'd really like to do? Usually not, but we keep choosing them. Why? Because we think we have to. We think we're obligated to do them, and that if we don't, nobody will pay us. We buy the idea that everybody else is more important than we are. If you had 10 seconds to choose the rest of your life, what would you choose? Would you choose poverty? Well, it's just a choice, neither stupid nor insane. When you live in 10-second increments, you get to choose again. You don't have to stay stuck in poverty. You've got 10 seconds. What do you choose? Wealth? Okay, those 10 seconds are over. You've got 10 seconds to live the rest of your life. What do you choose? Laughter? Joy? Consciousness? Next, please. Destroy and uncreate your life. One of the things you want to do is start every day anew. You want to create your life every day. This means that every morning you need to destroy and uncreate everything you were yesterday. If you have a business, you destroy and uncreate it every morning. If you destroy and uncreate everything in your financial situation every day, you will start to create more money. You will create today. That's part of living in 10-second increments. When you live in the moment, you're not trying to prove your past decision was a right one. You are creating your life moment by moment all the time. We tend to think, okay, I've created this beautiful pile of shit over there, so I don't want to uncreate it. I'll just ignore it and walk over there, and now I'm going to create something else. The thing is, the pile of shit is still sitting there, and each day you ignore it, it's now stronger and stronger until it's overwhelming and you have to deal with it. Next, please. Destroy and uncreate your relationship. If you have a relationship and you destroy and uncreate it every day, you will create it anew each day. It keeps you on the creative edge of things. We worked with a couple that had been married 26 years, and on their 27th wedding anniversary, instead of having a new ceremony, they decided to totally destroy and uncreate their relationship. They've been doing it ever since, and they say that the sex keeps getting better and better. And they're having more of it. Their 17-year-old daughter said, "Will you two stop acting like horny teenagers? You're disgusting. You want to do it all the time." This is after being married 27 years. But that's what happens. When you destroy and uncreate everything you have created, what shows up is the opportunity to create something totally new. Something interesting and unexpected happened when I decided to destroy and uncreate my relationship with my children. My youngest son was always late. You could guarantee that he would have been half an hour to an hour late for absolutely everything. 3 days after I destroyed and uncreated my relationship with him, he called and said, "Hey, Dad, can we have breakfast together?" I said, "Sure, son. When do you want to do it?" He said, "About 20 minutes." I said, "Okay, fine." I was with Dane and I said, "We've got at least 40 minutes." So we dawdled around for about 45 minutes. And when we got to the place where we're going to eat, my son was standing on the corner tapping his toe the way I did when he was late. He said, "Where have you been? I've been here for 20 minutes waiting for you." I thought, oh my God, the pod people came and got him during the middle of the night. This is not my son. He's never on time. Ever since then, he's been on time. It's freaking weird. After I destroyed and uncreated my relationship with him, he stopped being late. Destroying and uncreating does not mean you have to physically destroy anything. Next, please. It doesn't mean you have to actually end your relationship. What you destroy and uncreate is everything you decided, so you have a greater clarity about what is possible. You destroy and uncreate your decisions and judgments, your obligations, upsets and intrigues, your projections and expectations, and all the things you've decided are going to happen in the future. How do you do this? Well, you say, "Everything I was yesterday, I now destroy and uncreate." You can destroy and uncreate anything. You can say, "Everything my relationship was yesterday, or my business, or my financial situation, I now destroy and uncreate." Next, please. What else is possible? Remember what it was like when you were a kid? Did you start out every day thinking about what you were obligated to do? Or did you want to have fun and play? If you destroy and uncreate your life every day, you can get out of bed every morning with a question. Okay, so what kind of possibilities can I create today? Or, hey, what else is possible? If you do this, you'll create a whole different reality. You'll be creating with the enthusiasm of youth because you're no longer who you were yesterday. Next, please. Who am I today and what grand and glorious adventure am I going to have? Another question you can use after you've destroyed and uncreated your life is who am I today and what grand and glorious adventure am I going to have? If you have destroyed and uncreated yesterday, then you begin to create life as an adventure instead of an obligation. Next, please. Truth and lies. The truth always makes you feel lighter. A lie always makes you feel heavier. If something makes you feel heavy, it's a lie for you, whether or not it is for anybody else. Don't give your power away to anybody by saying that they know more than you do. You are the source. Wherever your attention gets stuck on something, you have a truth with a lie attached. Ask, what part of this is true and what part is a lie, spoken or unspoken? Next, please. What part is true? The majority of lies that stick our attention are unspoken lies. We keep thinking about it. If a thought keeps coming back, ask, what part is true? And the answer will make you feel lighter. What's a lie, spoken or unspoken, that's attached to it? Then ask, what's the lie, spoken or unspoken, that's attached to it? When you spot the lie, the whole thing turns loose. It becomes truth and you're free of it. I had a friend who was a magical healer. He could do miracles just by giving you a massage. He could heal your body. He did the Access Foundation and the Access One class and then said he couldn't afford to do the number two and number three class. I said, I'll give you the classes because you're such a good friend and I really want you to have them. He said, great, but he didn't show up for the classes. I called him a number of times, but he didn't call me back. After about 2 weeks, I was feeling strange about the situation. And I went to his wife's office and he was there. I said, hey, can you go for a walk? He said, okay. I said, so what's the deal that you didn't come to the class? He said, well, I was thinking about it and I realized that my calling is to sell vitamins. Sell vitamins? That is his calling? I thought, that does not make me feel lighter. What's the truth here? I didn't challenge him, but I wondered, you just got a $1,400 class offered to you for free and you turned it down? What's going on? I went away and I was confused. I kept thinking about it. The truth is, a couple of days later, I said, wait a minute. The truth is, he didn't do the class. Then I spotted the spoken lie, which was that he wanted to sell vitamins. Then I got the unspoken lie, which was that it was his choice not to do the class. In truth, it was his wife who didn't want him to do it. I got that his wife is the power in the family and she doesn't want him to have any because that means he might leave her. He was younger, he was good looking, and she didn't get that. He loved her for her. She thought he stayed with her because she made the majority of the money, and she decided it was better to keep him powerless. Once I spotted that, I knew what was going on, and I never thought about it again. Use this with recurring thoughts. Next, please. Ask yourself, What part is true? The answer will make you feel lighter. Then ask, what's the lie, spoken or unspoken, that's attached to it? More often, the lie that hangs you up is an unspoken lie. Spot the lie and you're free of it. Next, please. Interesting point of view. When you are in a place of no judgment, you recognize that you are everything and you judge nothing, including yourself. There is simply no judgment in your universe. There is total allowance of all things. And when you are in allowance, you are a rock in the stream. Thoughts, ideas, beliefs, attitudes, and emotions come at you. And they go around you, and you're still the rock in the stream. Everything is an interesting point of view. Acceptance is different from allowance. If you are in acceptance, when thoughts, ideas, beliefs, and attitudes come at you, and you are in the stream, you get washed away. In acceptance, you either align and agree, which is the positive polarity, or you resist and react, which is the negative polarity. Either way, you become part of the stream and you get washed away. If you are in allowance of what I'm saying, you can say, well, that's an interesting point of view. I wonder if there's any truth in it. You go into a question instead of a reaction. When you go to into resistance and reaction or alignment and agreement with points of view, you create limitation. The unlimited approach is interesting point of view. Next, please. How is this in everyday life? You and your friend are walking down the street and he says to you, I'm broke. What do you do? Oh, you poor thing. That's alignment and agreement. You are? Is a resistance and reaction. You know he's going to hit you up for a loan. Interesting point of view is really, does someone irritate you? He or she is not the problem. You are. As long as you have any irritation, you've got a problem. Lock yourself in the bathroom and say your thing. Interesting point of view. I have this point of view. For every point of view you have about them until you get over it and can be in allowance. Then you're free. It's not about the way others respond to you, it's about your being in allowance of them. As completely batshit as they are, you have to be an allowance of where the other person sits in order for them to be able to change. You don't have to align and agree and love them, nor do you have to resist and react and hate them. Neither of those is real. You simply allow and honor and respect their point of view without buying it. Being an allowance of somebody doesn't mean you have to be a doormat. You just have to be what is. The hard, next please. Next slide. The hardest thing is to be in allowance with yourself. We tend to judge and judge ourselves. We get locked into trying to be a good parent or a good partner or a good whatever, and we're always judging ourselves. But we can be in allowance of our own point of view. We can say, I had that point of view. Interesting. I did that. Interesting. When you're in allowance, everything becomes an interesting point of view. You do not accept it, you do not resist it, it just is. Life gets easier and easier. Next, please. All of life comes to me with ease, joy, and glory. Our mantra in Access is all of life comes to me with ease, joy, and glory. It's not an affirmation because it's not about having only the positive. It includes the good, the bad, and the ugly. We'll take it all with ease and joy and glory. None of it has to be painful, suffering, and gory, even though that's the way most of us live our lives. You can have fun instead. What if the purpose of your life was merely to have fun? All of life comes to me with peace, joy, and glory. Say it 10 times in the morning and 10 times in the evening, and it will change your life. Put it on your bathroom mirror. Tell your mate the reason it's up there is because you have to remember it. It will change your mate's life as well. Just because he or she has to look at it. Guess what? We're getting married. You see, a lady called me and said, I want my boyfriend to marry me. How can I get that to happen? And I said, honey, I'm a psychic, not a wizard. The only thing I can suggest is that you put all of life comes to me with ease, joy, and glory up on the mirror where he shaves every morning. And who knows? 3 weeks later, she called and said, guess what? We're getting married. Another story. Grandma, what's that? A grandmother who does access in New Zealand told us that her grandson saw all of life comes to me with ease, joy, and glory on her refrigerator. And he said, Grandma, what's that? Can I use it? She said, well, it comes from Access and you can use it. Just let people know where it came from. The grandson, who is the manager of a refrigeration company, had its salesman say it together 10 times every morning, and in 8 weeks, their sales went from $20,000 to $60,000 per month. That's without changing anything else. The grandson told his lowest performing salesman about using, how does it get any better than this? And the guy started saying it every time he made out a new sales receipt, and his sales went from $7,000 to $20,000 per month. These people hadn't ever heard of Access and had no idea where these tools came from, but they used them and experienced big changes in the way money flowed into their lives. So can you. And that's the end of chapter 2 of the book. Money isn't the problem, you are. And on that note, I would just like to remind everybody, please use the tools. There's no point in listening to the book club if you're not using the tools. And let us know how it's working for you. Also, I'd like to take this opportunity to invite everyone to the 7 days of change. Please come to Manila for those not here in Manila. For those here, it's really a good opportunity for you to meet Access Consciousness Certified Facilitator Junalyn Musi and just going to do advanced classes. There's going to be 4 days body class and a 3 day 4 days foundation class and a 3 day body class. And if you're going to send 20% down payment by tomorrow, that's January 22, you get a free Symphony of Possibilities from Junalyn. Okay, and for the others who are not choosing that, that's also okay. It's really your choice. But please use the tools, use the tools, use the tools, and tell us how it's working for you. So that's it for today, and we'll see you tomorrow for chapter 3 of Money Isn't the Problem, You Are. What if it's really just about receiving? Bye for now, everyone.